Hi, it's Jay Height here at Shepherd Community, and what an exciting time. It's April. Maybe we're finally past all of the winter weather and moving into spring, and we're excited about that. And going in here in Indianapolis, everything is about the month of May, and we have all kinds of great things happening here at this location. And one of the best things that happens is how we invest in the lives of the kids that we serve, both in our academy and in the schools around us and in our after-school program. We're going to watch a video right now that tells you a little bit about our academy.
What have you created recently, guys? Marcelino?
I'm Dr. Bethany Morford. I have worked for Shepherd about 2.5 years now.
See you later.
One of the things I really love about Shepherd is that we really know our students. Every student is going to have a caring adult in their life, maybe 2 or 3. We greet all of our students by name every morning. Most times, by the time the student gets to the classroom the first time, they'll have heard their name 3 or 4 times. We have openings for about 150 students from preschool through 5th grade. Right now we have about 140 students. 90% of our students approximately are English language learners, so something that we work hard at and do really well here is preparing students to have the English that they need to succeed in middle school when they leave us. Our preschool is really unique in that our teacher is from Argentina. She teaches and gives all of her instructions in both English and Spanish. We have 3 or 4 outdoor classrooms where the teachers can bring their students to learn outside so that they just have a change in their learning environment. This is our 2nd grade classroom. Mrs. Davison is a first-year teacher, but she's been at Shepherd here for about 2 years. This is our kindergarten classroom. Our teacher in this classroom moved here from India this past year. This is Mrs. Lindsay. She helps tutor our students. So all of our students are tiered based on academic need and behavioral need. And then the ones who need the most help, we spend extra time with tutoring. An important part of what we do here at Shepherd is making sure our students are fed. They receive breakfast in the morning, they receive lunch, and then if they're here for our after-school program, they receive supper as well. One of my favorite parts of the school is our library. We are actually privileged to have a branch of the Indianapolis Public Library here directly in our school. So all of our students get a library card and can check out books. Any book that's available through the public library system, they can get. This is our Title I teacher, Mrs. Kelly. She is an Indianapolis Public Schools employee. She has served as a principal at some of our local public schools, and now she's working as a teacher who specializes in helping our students who need extra support with reading or math. We also have a counseling office at our school. We have a social worker and we have a behavioral counselor who works here and helps our students with their emotional and mental health needs. This is our 4th grade classroom. This year we have several teachers working together to teach our 4th graders. Right now, I believe they're in another of my favorite parts in the school, which is the STEM lab.
The goal is to make it through the yarn and into the cups at the bottom because we're just making simple machines and it doesn't have to be very complicated.
Oh, yes! Nice job.
What I love about the STEM lab is we have 3D printers, we have robots, and we have all the supplies students need to do all kinds of creative engineering on their own. This is our 5th grade classroom. They are getting ready to graduate from Shepherd in the next couple months. Their teacher, Miss Heil, has been here with us for a couple years now and does a really good job providing learning activities in addition to just traditional worksheets and things like that. Our teacher in 3rd grade is a phenomenal teacher. She has been teaching for 30 years. She does a really good job of preparing our students as they transition from that lower elementary learning where they're really learning how to read to upper elementary learning where they're learning how to gather information and learn more. Our goal is that 90% of the students who have been with us for at least 3 years will be reading at grade level. One of the exciting things that has happened this year is we have remodeled our playground. We used to have wood chips and mud, and now we have fantastic foam carpeting for our playground area, and we have turf for our soccer field, so we're really excited about that. At the end of the day, we send each kiddo home with either a handshake, a hug, or a high five, just to end their day on a positive note.
can see why we're so excited to be able to, through our academy, invest deeply into the lives of our students. And we're looking forward to the summer when we'll have them here all day and be able to help them to continue to move forward. If you'd like to volunteer, we could use help in the summer, whether it's with meals, whether it's with tutoring, or maybe you want to help chaperone a field trip. We can use your help as we invest deeply in the kids. Now see how we do that in a partner with IPS at School 58.
It's my 10th year as an educator. As a principal, 3rd year as a principal, 2nd year here at Ralph Waldo. I'm naturally attracted to schools where the support is needed, where the students need a strong leader to really begin to make shifts. Initially, when I was born, my grandmother lived off of Hendricks Place, so very familiar with this side of town. So it was just a natural transition. And I feel like the Lord was like, that's where I need you. And it's not going to be easy. And I really feel the Lord's given me a gift with turning around schools. So it was time. And I accepted the mission.
Do you think it's 113 grams or 113 kilograms? Do you think kilograms? Okay, so write kilograms if that's what you think, and then you have to write why.
I didn't realize just how powerful the partnership was until I got here. And I was like, oh, Shepherd actually has staff inside our building to support. This year, we've really expanded that partnership, and when they're not providing support to families, they're actually pushing into the classroom to support students.
At School 58, we have a community care coordinator who runs programming here. She also helps during our day-to-day activities. We have a full-time fellow and a part-time fellow that help run our after-school programming as well.
So basically, and this one's an easy one. We just have to take out the period. That's it. Because this is technically all one sentence together. I have been in this role for just over 2 years. I would say that these kids are like my kids. They have their struggles, but there's nothing like feeling like a celebrity every day when you come to work because everyone just wants to come and give you a hug. But there are a lot of parents who will just send me encouraging text messages. I actually had a parent last week buy me breakfast. So just building that relationship with our families and our kids. And I live in the community, so I see a lot of our families out at the store, so it just helps them have somebody that they can trust.
We are in a crisis in the community, and there's so many academic gaps there. So now Shepherd has really increased their work in the building, not only to support families, but to support students while they're here. So in that partnership, they're supporting our families, like maybe having a vehicle be fixed, our utilities in the house, our food. We have a family who needs beds. Like Shepherd runs to the problem, and I mean they're mission driven, right? They're truly mission driven in that work and do what God says to do, what we should do in the community. So I did not know the extent of this partnership before I got here. But this year, we really wanted to make sure that we increase the involvement, and it's been outstanding.
Let's just look in the bin one more time, and then let's see if somebody else has it. With Dr. Mickens as principal and Shepherd right there to help with anything needed, and having people like me here and Rachel, I think it's very helpful because we can help assist with the issues and needs of the school so that we can keep an IPS neighborhood school on the Near East Side. 100%.
These are exciting days, and we're excited because this fall we'll be moving into a second IPS elementary school as well as a new middle school. They are reopening Howe as a middle school, and we'll be there doing before and after school and supportive services like we are at these two elementary schools, and the great work we do at Purdue Polytech and at Arsenal Tech. It's great to partner with IPS and with Purdue Polytech to help our students have quality educational seats for everyone who's in our neighborhood. If you'd like to help things that we could use, trash bags are always items. If you would want to do, as we're looking forward to the summer, freeze pops that we could put in the freezer and give to the kids, those are always great things. And we can always use canned fruits and vegetables. Our numbers continue to increase. If you would like to listen to our podcast, go to wherever you get your podcast and put in Breaking the Cycle of Poverty. It's where we do deep dives into different issues and conversations, and we would love for you to be a part of that. Mario Marino in the book Leap of Reason says the great organizations are those that tackle issues bigger than themselves and partner with others to accomplish it. And so, today you're going to hear in a conversation with a good friend, Aaron Story, about how Shepherd Community and Elevate are working together. But partnership happens not between organizations, but between people. And I believe in Aaron and appreciate his leadership and most of all his friendship. Listen to us now, and when we're done, thank you for listening and watching today. I am Jay Height here with my good friend Aaron Story. Aaron, you and I have known each other 20 years? 20?
Pretty close. Yeah.
Starts as youth pastor at Heartland.
Yeah, long time ago.
Yeah, that was a whole different land.
Different era.
Yeah, and then on to pastoring a church downtown, and now as the leader of Elevate. We have continued to work through a process called partnership. Define partnership.
Yeah, I think when I think of partnership or, collaboration, I think it's coming to co-labor together for greater outcomes and impact than you would make on your own. But I think fundamentally in partnership is just being together. So there is that knowing each other, values, preferences, identities, to identify, whereas those common conversation points or common value points, or where they're not common points, either way you can partner together. As organizationally, mission-wise, it's to then where do we go further, farther, faster, together that we couldn't do on our own, and actually believing that we couldn't do this better on our own. I don't know, that come to mind.
Yeah, I think sometimes people selfishly define partnership as something that benefits my organization. Mm-hmm. When Elevate and Shepherd Community, they don't partner. Aaron Story, Jay Height partner, mm-hmm. and our teams do, right? Mm-hmm. It's people. Organizations can't connect. Mm-hmm. People do, but it's not about our people. It's not about our organization. It's the kids that we're serving who win in mm-hmm. partnership, that we're able to help in different ways. I think besides your day job, as the executive director of Elevate, you're also the basketball coach at Purdue Poly, and tragically a death of one of your mm-hmm. players. Yes. And we took the role of supporting you, praying for you, bringing resources to the school, but really empowering you because you were the best connected there. Mm. And through a difficult time, and making sure that we were holding you up in prayer, because I can't imagine how difficult that was, but we're glad you're there. Mario Marino in the book Leap of Reason says the great organizations are those that tackle issues bigger than themselves and partner with others to accomplish it. Mm. The issues of our students, just as with the tragedy of your player, the challenges day to day of those that we're investing in at Purdue Poly and Arsenal Tech together, and they're bigger than any of us. Mm-hmm. And take a moment and tell us what Elevate does.
Yeah, the mission of Elevate, is building long-term life-change relationships with students, equipping them to thrive and contribute to their community. And that their community piece to us is really important because it is their neighborhood, their family, their school, their future, their everything. When we contribute to a bunch of theirs being healthy, I think it is, as scriptures tell us in the Old Testament, like you go down, put down roots, buy homes, build gardens, put jobs, whatever. And then once you do, you think of just all of us individually doing that, the collective whole becomes better for everybody. And I think in the nature of that there in our mission, even, well, how do we do that? How could you literally do something that creates the economic mobility for people that's their community, their neighbors I'll never live in. I'll never know their families, their grandmas, their little siblings, their cousins. Well, it's partnership, it's collaboration. It's us fully embedded in IPS and Purdue Poly. So we're fully immersed in the schools, during the school, after school. Right? Well, that's only because the generosity and the support and the branch of, of hope that the school districts invite us to be a part of. So our mission couldn't function without that. And a lot of other things couldn't too, but I think, I think even just the nature of partnership is our mission's impossible to execute without layers of collaborations. With in some cases, parents a little bit. We're not a real strong parent organization, but we do parent outreach, parent engagement. It's school, it's neighborhood relationships. Go down the list, but yeah, that's that's important. I was just thinking about that quote. It is really part of the essence of partnership, taking on something so big that's impossible without each other.
Yeah, and so IPS is a partner with us in this. Purdue Polytech is a partner. I was talking to folks and I said, we're talking about reading scores. And I said, I want 100% for every kid in my neighborhood. And they said, well, that's not possible. And I said, so are you gonna, if I brought 100 kids here, are you gonna tell me which ones you're writing off? Because we can't write them off. That's where it's a bigger vision than anything else. We have to shoot for 100%, and Shepherd can't do that. Elevate can't do that. Our friends at Dream Alive, at Young Life, all of these different groups, the Bonner Center, Edna Martin Christian Center, these are folks who we're working with to invest in our kids. One of the things that your team does so well is you're investing heavy in those kids' relationships. And every kid's going to be mentored in this neighborhood. The question's by who? And many times we're outworked by others. And I think, we work with your students to take them on visits to employers and exposing them to possible careers. But it's I guess I should say it's our students.
Yeah.
We share them, we steward them, and I think partnership is part of stewardship.
That's good.
In the situation when those basketball team players, they wanted to be with you. And God gave you a platform during a very difficult time for you, but for them. And we have to take the posture of how do we support Aaron? How do we support Elevate? Because you had the inroads there. And we see a community that lives in trauma, lives in conflict, and we have to be more engaged and do more and more. And we benefit because we share many of the same donors because they want to see the change. And I think it's really on us to lead that change in partnership, where we each bring what we can to the table. We want quality educational seats for every kid in this neighborhood. So whether that's a charter, whether that's private, whether that's IPS, we need to be there. And I think Elevate is part of that. Shepherd is part of that. And there's other great organizations that we each have a niche. What do you think keeps people from partnerships?
Fear, right? And even if we're really transparent, 2024, watch donations are high or low, and there's crunched middle class, and you think of a lot of these dynamics of who's donating well, who's got the bigger brands, and how does that look? Does it make us look like we can't sustain on our own if we're not partnering? Like, there's a lot of fear that goes involved, right? Is the table big enough for everybody to eat at? Yeah. Right? And sometimes it's just never been done before. Sometimes it's not overt fear, but it's never been done. Partnership is a common word thrown out by funders and donors and foundations and community members that want it, that maybe expect it. But beyond website, logo swapping, what does collaboration look like that really compromises, what part of your mission is reliant? Like, we literally couldn't do what we do without you. Which means we would flat out fail if you don't show up. Well, there's fear in that. There's also insecurity in that. There's also that, we're not going to look good if we fail before donors or other partners or whatever. And so I think that, right, is attention. And then conflict. I mean, just fundamentally, it's easier to go back to your two corners, in the middle of a ring, go back and just stay there. Work through, because conflict's going to happen. To your point, organizations don't partner, people partner. Well, organizations don't have conflict, people have conflict.
That's right.
And so I think about what gets in the way of lasting ones. Sometimes it's undealt with or unnavigated, conflict.
The word is trust.
Yeah.
And that only comes in the depth of relationship and the length of relationship. You can't microwave that. And so it means that we're committed to taking the time to know each other, spend time with each other. You and I were talking about an interview I did with the retired CEO of Eli Lilly, John Licklider, and he was talking about how to balance long-term vision to quarterly dividends. And you made a good point. That's part of the challenge of partnership.
Yeah, we have a 10-year vision. So the 10-year vision. And in that, you mentioned the 100%, we have 100% graduation rate goal every year, because I've told our partners, like, how could I look at the students that we serve and say, well, 90% is pretty good. 90% is pretty good, compared to their peers. We'd say, oh, we're doing pretty good, right? But pretty good isn't good enough when you know what it means to not have 100% graduation rate, students that get so far behind. But I think about, that, well, you're laboring for some certain outputs or outcomes, right? There's all of us have our own GIPRAs and we're trying to aim at, and we're working heavy and hard in that space. So how do I set aside time of executing our mission to then learn how to work better with other people, right? How do you live that out? So I don't know, that is hard, but what's the reality? 'Cause you've been doing this for a long time, collaborating in a lot of different ways, highs and lows of that, obviously.
Yeah, I like what John Licklider said. He said you can have long-term vision and meet the quarterly dividends, but if you only focus on the quarterly dividends, you won't get the long-term vision. And so it's a both and I think it's a balance of time, and we all have the same amount of time, and so it becomes a priority. And I think my neighborhood, this is just like you, this is where I live, work, and worship. This neighborhood is better because of Elevate. It's better because of Dream Alive. It's better because of IPS. We all have warts. Any organization I'm a part of is going to have a lot of them, because I'm part of it. Shepherd is doing amazing things, but we have some challenges. We all do. When we come together, when we come to that table and say, 100% is our goal, it's going to take all of us doing it together. I'm thankful, Aaron, for you being here. I'm thankful for our years of friendship, and I'm excited about the days ahead. There's some things that we're working on that I think will soon really be doing some innovation in the East Side, so that our students and their families can thrive, and we can impact absenteeism, and we can impact test scores, but even more, helping 100% of those kids graduate and flourish. That's our call.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Yep, thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, thanks, Jay.